You wake before dawn. The ground is cold, your muscles ache, and the leather straps of your armor have already started to chafe. You don't have a name that matters. You're a legionary, one face among 5,000 in this legion, one of hundreds of thousands across the empire. You don't exist as an individual. You exist as part of the formation. Your day begins with inspection. Your centurion walks the line, checking armor, weapons, boots. If something's wrong, you're beaten. Not because he hates you, because discipline is survival. On the march, you carry 60 pounds of gear. Your shield alone weighs 22 pounds. You walk 20 miles, build a fortified camp by sunset, then stand watch through the night. This is your life. March, dig, fight, sleep, repeat. In battle, you don't charge forward screaming. You lock your shield with the man beside you and push. The enemy crashes into your line, and you stab, short, brutal thrusts with your gladius. You don't see faces. You see movement. You react. The man next to you falls, and another steps into his place. You survive not because you're special, but because the system works. You are replaceable, forgettable, anonymous. But you don't stay at the bottom. After years of service, you prove yourself. You become a specialist, an engineer, a scout, a siege technician. You still follow orders, but now you have a skill, a purpose beyond standing in formation. You're no longer just a body holding a shield. You're useful. Then you're promoted again. Watch commander. You oversee 8 men on night duty. It's a small authority, but it's the first time you've been responsible for anyone other than yourself. If they fall asleep, you're punished. If they fail, you fail. You learn quickly that leadership isn't about being liked. It's about being obeyed. You rise again. Squad leader. 10 men now answer to you. You train them, position them in battle, make sure they don't break when the line collapses. Some of them are younger than you. Some are older. None of that matters. You're their superior, and they watch you to know whether to stand or run. You realize something. The higher you climb, the more eyes are on you, and the more weight sits on your shoulders. Then comes the promotion that changes everything. You become a centurion. Now you command 80 men. You enforce discipline with a vine staff, a wooden rod you carry everywhere. You use it freely. A soldier talks back? Strike. A man moves out of formation? Strike. They hate you for it. Some fear you. Others respect you. But all of them obey. You lead from the front. When the legion marches into enemy territory, you're at the head of your century. When the battle starts, you don't stand behind the line. You're in it. You shout commands, hold the formation together, and if the line starts to collapse, you step into the gap yourself. You've become what you once feared. Your armor is better now. Your pay is 15 times what a legionary earns. You sit in command briefings with tribunes and the legate. You're no longer invisible. You have a voice. But with that voice comes responsibility. One day you're promoted to first spear, the most senior centurion in the legion. You command the first century of the first cohort, the elite core of the entire force. You advise the legion commander. You lead assaults. You make decisions that determine whether hundreds of men live or die. If you're enjoying this story of power and survival, hit that like button and subscribe, because the climb only gets darker from here. You've spent 20 years in the legion. You've survived battles, diseases, forced marches, and betrayals. You've earned your authority. But you also see the other kind of power, the kind you can't earn. A tribune arrives. He's 22 years old. He's never been in a real battle, but he's a senator's son, so he outranks you. He gives orders that make no sense. You correct him quietly. He ignores you. Men die because of it. This is Rome. Skill gets you to a centurion. Birth gets you to tribune. You learn to navigate both. Eventually, you're too experienced to stay a centurion. You're promoted into the officer ranks. Not because of your family name, because you survived long enough and proved yourself capable. You become a senior officer, coordinating entire cohorts, planning maneuvers, managing supply lines. You're no longer just a soldier, you're a strategist. Then, after decades of service, you're given a legion of your own. Legion commander. 5,000 men answer to you now. You control their movements, their discipline, their fate. When the emperor orders a campaign, you're the one who executes it. When a province rebels, you crush it. You have near absolute authority over your soldiers. But you also have something new, doubt. You wonder if the men truly follow you or just fear punishment. You wonder if your decisions are right, or if you're sending men to die for political goals you don't fully understand. You begin to see the empire not as a glorious machine, but as a fragile system held together by violence and loyalty. And you wonder whether the emperor trusts you. Because you're powerful now, dangerously powerful. A legion commander with loyal troops can become a rival. Rome's history is full of generals who marched on the capital. You've heard the stories. You know what happens to men who grow too influential. So you tread carefully. You follow orders. You crush rebellions. You keep your soldiers loyal, but not too loyal. You demonstrate competence, but not ambition. Still, the emperor promotes you. Provincial governor. Now you rule a region. You command multiple legions, oversee cities, collect taxes, enforce Roman law. You have the power to execute criminals, negotiate treaties, and start wars. You live in a palace. You host senators. You dine with foreign kings. You've climbed as high as any soldier can go, but you're not safe. Every decision you make is reported to Rome. Every treaty, every execution, every movement of troops. If you're too harsh, you're called a tyrant. If you're too lenient, you're called weak. If you win too many battles, the emperor grows nervous. If you lose, you're recalled in disgrace. You realize the truth. Authority is not freedom. It's a cage made of eyes and knives. You govern wisely. You maintain order. You keep the province stable. But in the back of your mind, you're always calculating, always wondering whether today's success will become tomorrow's accusation. Then the emperor dies, and Rome erupts into civil war. Multiple generals declare themselves the rightful successor. Legions turn on each other. Senators scramble to pick sides. The empire fractures. You have a choice: stay loyal to a dead man's legacy or seize power yourself. You choose power. You mobilize your legions. You march toward Rome. Other commanders do the same. Armies clash in open fields. Tens of thousands die. You win battles through strategy, through bribery, through betrayal. You eliminate rivals one by one. You make alliances, then break them. You promise rewards, then purge those who helped you. Finally, you stand victorious. The Senate proclaims you Emperor of Rome. The entire empire answers to you now. You command every legion, every province, every citizen. You wear the purple. You sit on the throne. You hold absolute power. And you've never been more afraid. Because now, every general is a potential rival. Every senator is a potential conspirator. Every Praetorian guard is a potential assassin. You trust no one. You sleep lightly. You taste your food carefully. You rotate your guards constantly. You've spent your entire life climbing the ladder of power. And now, at the top, you realize the truth. A legionary fears death in battle. A centurion fears failure. A legion commander fears disloyalty. A governor fears Rome. But an emperor fears everyone. You command the greatest empire on earth. And you are the loneliest, most vulnerable man in it. You thought the throne would be different. You thought power meant control. That authority meant security. That reaching the top meant you'd finally be safe. You were wrong. Every morning you wake to reports. Rebellions in distant provinces. Corruption among governors. Border tribes testing your legions. Senators whispering in corners. Generals growing too popular. Rivals gathering support. You make decisions that affect millions, but you can't trust anyone to carry them out. You appoint officials, knowing some will betray you. You promote generals, knowing they might march on Rome. You rely on guards, knowing one of them could slide a blade between your ribs. You've become paranoid, and you hate it, but paranoia is survival. You remember what you were once, a nameless legionary in a dusty camp carrying a shield and following orders. Life was hard, brutal, but it was simple. You knew your enemy. You knew your role. You feared the man in front of you, not the man beside you. Now you fear everyone. You attend Senate meetings, and you watch every face. Who hesitates before applauding? Who avoids your gaze? Who speaks too boldly, or not boldly enough? You read every silence like a threat. You host banquets, and you wonder which guest is plotting. You smile at governors and clasp hands with generals, all while calculating who could become your executioner. You've purged rivals before. You'll purge more. It's not cruelty, it's necessity. Rome is not ruled through kindness. It's ruled through strength, fear, and calculated violence. But the purges don't stop the anxiety. They feed it. Because every enemy you eliminate creates new ones. Every execution makes someone else afraid, and fear breeds conspiracy. You try to strengthen your position. You launch campaigns to win glory. You distribute grain to keep the people happy. You host games in the Colosseum. You build monuments with your name carved in stone. It works. For a while. The people cheer. The Senate bows. The legions march under your banner. But you know the truth. Loyalty in Rome is conditional. The same crowd that cheers you today will cheer your successor tomorrow. The same senators who kneel before you are already courting potential rivals. The same soldiers who salute you would follow another commander if he promised more gold. Power in Rome is not inherited. It's seized, and it can be lost just as quickly. So you never relax. You never stop watching. You never stop planning. You rotate your guards. You test your food. You sleep in different rooms. You make surprise inspections of legions. You cultivate informants. You create rivalries among your subordinates so they focus on each other instead of you. You've become the system you once served, and you realize something. The Roman Empire is not held together by law or justice or shared ideals. It's held together by fear and force, and you are both the wielder and the target of that force. Some nights you stand on the palace balcony and look out over the city, thousands of rooftops, millions of people, temples, markets, aqueducts, monuments, all of it under your command, and you feel nothing but exhaustion. You think about the legionary you once were, marching in formation, fighting in the line, sleeping in a tent with dirt under your nails. You had no power then, but you also had no fear. Now you have everything, and you trust nothing. You understand now what the climb truly cost. You didn't trade weakness for strength. You traded one kind of danger for another. A soldier risks his life on the battlefield, but when the battle ends, he rests. An emperor risks his life every moment of every day, and there is no rest, no end, no safety. You hold the highest rank in the greatest empire on earth, and you are the most vulnerable man in Rome. This is what it was like, to rise from nothing, to command everything, and to realize too late that the throne is not a prize, it's a trap, and once you sit on it, you can never leave.